I want to share a common issue with self-development that many people fall into, and it's that the process of personal development is a process of improvement, and it's almost default for people for that improvement to come from a place of not thinking they're good enough where they are, and so they need to do this thing or they need to look this way, and then they're going to be alright, they're going to be good enough, they'll be like a functioning member of society. And really, this isn't the way to go about things, and the reason is that there's always another level. And really, an easy example is working out. Like, if you think, when I look like this, then I'll be happy with myself. You get to that stage and there's another stage. And so you never actually reach the point where you actually feel good about yourself. Another thing is, and it's also probably the rebuttal you have from hearing this, is, well, if I'm not being hard on myself, or I'm not being very critical and saying that where I am isn't good enough. Like, if I just accept where I am and say that that is good enough, won't I just stop doing anything? You know? But really, is that the best motivator you've got? That things suck and that you suck, and maybe if you do all of this stuff you will suck less? Because you won't actually, with that strategy, ever reach a place where you're happy with yourself, nor will you reach a place where you're happy with your situation. And if you did, you'd have to manufacture ways for you to be miserable so that you can keep on doing anything remotely productive, or you'll just sink back down, right? With that mental model. But that's an interesting point I mentioned there at the end as a tangent, is like, why would you sink back down? It would mean that down here was your default. What if up here is your default and you're raised back up and your standard doesn't allow bad things to happen? Anyway, so what's a better way of going about this? Well, the problem is that when we're focused so much on our weaknesses, then we see ourselves through the lens of one with all these weaknesses. When we never take a second to think equally about what our strengths are, then this hyperfixation on what's wrong with us and what's wrong with our situation will colour our experience of the world. And it means that you will go through the world, and every interaction you have and everything you do, it's with the belief that there's something very wrong with you and that you're no good and that where you are sucks. And this is a big problem. It's a big problem not only because what I said about how that never actually changes, because there's always another level, and that's how the human mind works, is that you will just have a new goalpost, and so you'd always be in that state. And the second part is that it's not even conducive to getting to that next level. You might think that beating yourself up is the way to do it, but really, through experimentation, I've come to the conclusion that it's really not. Because are you more likely to achieve the heroic thing when you feel like a hero, or when you feel like a miserable little worm? And so really, a better strategy than focusing on your weaknesses is to, at least in equal proportion, think about your strengths. It's to think about things you're good at. It's to think about things you're grateful for in the world. And through this, you can develop actually to notice as well areas you are improving, areas you did do well in today, and notice progress that you make. And the thing is, when I said about how not the best motivator is just thinking everything's terrible and then having to get out of your current present experience of the world, a better motivator is, hey, look at all the progress I've made. That's amazing. It's so exciting that I've managed to do this thing. I just had a thought in my mind and I've turned this into reality. I want to do that more. You come out of a place of inspiration. Wow, if I could do this, what else can I do? And really with this, you can feel good the whole time. You don't have to be miserable to make progress. And really as well, when you're not so focused on your weaknesses, you're actually, you'll have more mental power to direct that towards what you want. So that's the lesson from today, is to change your focus, or at least update it so it's fair on yourself, that in equal proportion you're thinking about your strengths, and in equal proportion you're thinking about the things that are good in your life. And the reason people don't do this is because they worry that if they're happy with their situation, or they're happy with themselves, or there's an acceptance of that, that they'll take their foot off the gas. But really it's ludicrous, because if you think about what acceptance is just, this is the way things are. It doesn't mean I'm not going to change them, but it's how things are. You know? If it's cold, you accept that it's cold. It's like, well, yeah, it is cold outside. And from that place, there's not all this mental tension to try and get away from what is. And how about you direct all of that mental energy towards creating the life of your vision, through making your thoughts into reality, coming through inspiration. So there you go. Just update your focus and go crush it out of inspiration. What else can you do? What else can you accomplish? You've already come so far. You've probably already achieved things that you said would be the thing that would make you happy, that would make you fulfilled, that would, oh, when I get this thing, then I'll, you know, you've already done that, and you've just made a new goal. You're going to do that for the rest of your life, or are you going to start living in the present instead of living, you know, 1 month away, and that 1 month always running away from you and never actually being there? From this, you'll find a lot more power. You'll find it's just a nicer experience of the world, and it feels more like this is how we're meant to live. It's like, oh yeah, I was doing things wrong because this just feels so great, and also I'm just doing better. So yeah, take that on, and you'll quickly realize that actually from this place of acceptance and from this place of actually liking yourself and being grateful for your situation, you don't stop doing stuff, but really it's just you're coming out of a place of actually growing the good. Because what you focus on, it's like what you focus on is, it like becomes more and more in your life. And you could think of that in, like, psychologically, you could think of that spiritually, but really, if you focus on the good things of your life, you get more good things in your life. If you focus on the things you've been achieving and how amazing that is and how it's improved your life, you get more of that. So give it a try. Suspend your disbelief for a little while, like a month. Make this next month a month of coming from that place, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.